Namaskar, good evening, Adab, Sat Shri Akal, Jai Jitendra, Khamadhani. A very warm welcome to everybody to this exclusive webinar of Hospitality Ki Pathshala. With me, I want to introduce a very special personality here. The chairman of Hospitality Ki Pathshala, Mr. Predeep is a senior party-led education and social worker. As the national president and chairman, AHPWI, he decided to educate especially young men and women who were not afford quality HMCD education. His learning method is very easy and quality is very low. He is also honorary member of the National Line Association of India. We would like to humbly request all the PMs and HR fraternity to improve the education in the country. In the beginning of his career, he saw all the shades of industries and decided to educate the hotel community. He personally feels that an educated employee can earn better and at the same time can give life to other employees also. He wants to educate more than 50,000 hospitality community people in India. He is seriously involved in the welfare of hospitality community, blind and deaf dumb children and girl education. Also, he started Hospitality Pathshala, an online education portal for hospitality industry. Hospitality Pathshala aims to become a major contributor in Atmanirbhar Bharat and self-dependent. Hospitality Pathshala believes in Sabke Saath, Sabka Vikas and hence focuses on skill development of every person, whether from developed cities or from smaller villages, and provides hassle-free admissions. The courses are very easy to access and learn. They have famous and renowned mentors from all over the world. Hospitality Pathshala takes up special programs for married women as we believe in the motto, Padega India, Tabhi to Badega India. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for Mr. Pradeep Kumar Chandel? Everybody, can we have a round of applause for him? So, we will, it's an honor and a opportunity to call all of my lovely guests here. All the big shots of this hospitality industry are here with us in this webinar. And there are many people who are attending this webinar are so privileged to have this knowledge in Dr. area. Let me introduce my first guest of this webinar, Mr. Souvagya Mohapatra. Mr. Souvagya Mohapatra is supposed to be astute professional with an exceptional consistent record of success in developing and quality managing prestigious hotels, building excellent guest relationships, and improving the revenue, performance, and profile of newly launched and more established hotels. Mr. Mohapatra started his career from the Overall Group and spent most of his professional career during his tenure with Mayfair Hotels and Resorts. During his stint at the Mayfair, from a hotel manager to the executive director of the company, he witnessed Mayfair Group growing from just 2 hotels to 12 world-class properties. Currently working as an MD of Atmosphere of Hotels and having an experience of 28 years. Over this period, Mohapatra's passion for excellence in hospitality and immense contribution to the tourism industry has brought home a world of recognition and laurels. He is recognized as architects of the Indian hospitality industry, heading the most successful hotel brands. Souvagya Mohapatra's experience of launching world-class hotels, his knack of identifying the right destination at the right time for strategic benefits, along with immense market knowledge, help him guide the hotels to reach new heights. We are sure today we're gonna have amazing experience sharing by him who are attending this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for this amazing personality present with us, Mr. Souvagya Mohapatra, sir. Can we have him on the screen, please? Hello, sir. How are you? Can you add me in the screen, please? So, I guess your mic is mute. Mr. Mohammed, your mic is mute.
Yes.
How are you, sir?
Am I audible now?
Absolutely clear. How are you?
Fine, very fine. dear
ग्रेट
aspirants
ग्रेट।
and
सर सबसे
dignitaries.
पहले मैं ये जानना चाहती हूँ कि हमारे उड़ीसा के हाल कैसे हैं?
क्या बोल रहे हैं, सुनाई नहीं पड़ रहा है?
सबसे पहले जानना चाहिए कि हमारे उड़ीसा के हाल कैसे हैं?
उड़ीसा के
उड़ीसा के
नॉट,
हाल कैसे हैं? What is the current
अभी
situation
ठीक है,
there?
अभी ठीक है, कोविड का थोड़ा थोड़ा कम हो रहा है. नाउ वी आर most probably by 30th June the lockdown will be over, so the hospitality will be definitely again will be in track. So let's hope for the best.
Lovely. So we are all excited to learn some amazing experiences you have shared today in your lovely webinar.
Thank you, dear aspirants, dignitaries, and my dear panelists. Namaskar. I take this opportunity to thank my friend Pradeep ji for organizing Hospitality Ke Pathsala, such a great initiative, and inviting me as a speaker. This is, of course, unique in nature and probably first time of its kinds in our country. While congratulating Pradeep ji for this excellent initiative, this forum will not only boost the hospitality industry, but will definitely attract a lot of young aspirants to choose hospitality industry as their career. At this point of time, bearing outbreak of COVID-19, hospitality industry plays an important role in overall growth of the economy of the entire world. It is also heartening to see lot of students are getting attracted to hospitality, travel, tourism sector as a professional and as an entrepreneur. I am sure the students participating in this forum will greatly benefit from the incredibly talented speakers of the industry, which is a very carefully chosen by Pradeep ji. I'm sure speakers will share their experiences and best practices during these interactions, which are going to be interesting and learning too. I wish all the best for this excellent initiative by Pradeep ji, and hopefully, while my presence are live up to your expectations. See, hotel management education is definitely gainful for the employment and a career growth. Now, hotel management is an upbeat course which has become very popular over the years. It is now most sought after course in the field of technical educations. It a course comprising of varied subjects ranging from hotel operations to management, including engineering to law, even economics. It also gives an insight into French language, as most of the technical words are French. Today, there are many reputed institutes in the country which are offering exclusively hotel management courses. Such is the demand of that Ministry tourism. Government of India has under its wings 21 central IHN spread across the country. All these institutes fall under the National Council of Hotel Management. Under the ministry, country also has some very reputed private institutes like Oberoi Center of Learning, Taj Institute of Hotel Management, and the Manipal Welcome Institute of Management. And it has a beautiful scope. A student after completion of the course gets an opportunity not only the service sector like hotel, hospitals, airlines, cruise, banks, telecoms, tourism, but opportunity as varied as its sectors. MNC, one can say that even sky is not the limit, as we will soon have a space tourism, will space X being as example. One can be entrepreneur like the OYO or the BNB. One could also evolve as a celebrity chef like Sanjeev Kapoor or be a famous mixologist. One can find himself is to be also wine tester. The best part of the course is one of the can fit himself wherever his passion likes him. Is that it has a lot of benefits. Every course it done with passion, dedication, lead not to just bright future but also satisfying life. Hotel management as a course which grooms a student to be smart, confident, more importantly, empathetic. It's like a finishing course which teaches you to be at your best at all times by reflecting incapability grooming standards, excellent presentation skills, a personality which stands tall, approachable. Hotel management students are trained to face all challenges, and one can say that this course teaches you life skill. There are many examples where hotel management personnels have put service to guests before themselves. It if it has a lot beautiful career and it is a beautiful future also. How it is a beautiful future? Investment being done by big players now. As a country, we certainly heard for long not realize the growth potential offered by travel and tourism industry. But over the last few years, lots has been changed. Tourism now is one of the most pampered sector at the policy level with a series of measures being undertaken to reform, harness, and potential of the sector. The outcome of which is well manifest in terms of increased tourist footfall as well as increased investment in the sector. There are a number of factors that are attracting and will continue attracting investors to the Indian travel and tourism market. First and foremost being that, in spite of being endowed with the executed range of tourists attraction spread across the length and breadth of the country, Indian market still remains underdeveloped vis-a-vis. It appears that this opens a window of opportunity for the players in the sector. Add to this India's rising middle class, their increasing disposable income, and policy reform initiated over the last few years, it makes for the perfect business propositions, and therefore we will continue to witness inflow of investment in the sector, especially big players. If you can mark, any real estate players are coming to the real estate, they are putting up a hotel definitely, and it is a opportunity for a lot of players. Like it is opportunity for the employee, lot of opportunity for the suppliers, lot of opportunity for the vendors, the architects. It is an opportunity for the what they call brand, who's giving the brand also. There is a lot of opportunity, operation people, and now there is a requirement of workforce in terms of room inventory and facilities. Requirement of force in terms of room inventory and facility is a very subjective question, as this varies from property to property. Like in my previous role, the property that I was managing was 102 keys resort, that is in Bhubaneswar. The number of employees were around 600 plus, which implies that for every room are six people who had employed, because it has a large banqueting, large F&B, and lot of facilities. On other hand, we have, for example, of many properties where the room workplace ratio is 1:2. In some cases, also 1:1. So many studies have been conducted to, in this regard, to ascertain the workforce required per room. And on a safer side, based on those researchers, we may conclude that India hospitality sector employs on an average 0.8% to around 1 for accommodation lodging facility by extension. And needless to mention that as our sector continues to expand, the demand for workforce will increase commensurately, being a country where around 62% of the population are in the age group of 15 to 59 years. Availability of workforce per se isn't the issue, but that is skilled workforce is required. As we continue to initiate policy reform to attract investment, improve our tourism infrastructure, we now also need to equally focus on opening more institutions or something like this, Pathasala, which will be definitely attract lot of people for this professional gym. Also, a part from the institutions, bridging courses that provide training and certification to existing employees of these sectors should be also explored. Ministry of Tourism as well as Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurs are doing a great job in this regards. And in coming days, we expect more such initiatives will be happen. Hotel management being a career, also there is a lot of option which can place you varied service industry like educations, hotels, retail, hospitals, major food aggregator, airlines, etc. The art of hospitality is a very rewarding thing to learn. You become more empathetic. You develop a zeal for perfections. You learn the importance of the customer satisfactions. You learn the art of communications, the importance of grooming, the importance of learning new things, the importance of keeping oneself updated. Most importantly, the art of patience. These all traits will help one is every role, task that he or she undertake in their life. In transforms, it transforms you as a better person, and there are few jobs that help you grow personally along with also ensuring the professional growth. And hotel management is one of the amongst them. Apart from being a truly rewarding job in itself, it also open up avenue opportunity in other sectors such as educations, hospitals, airlines, etc. As the job profile in these sectors bearing some minor differences are more or less the same, and therefore this makes for a very good career choice for youths. Also, as mentioned above, the increased presence of international brands in the country, along with the increased competitions, the perks and remunerations being offered now are also much better than what it used to be earlier. There is a, if you are a professional, there is opportunity in international jobs also. As an international brand, as suggested by several reports, will account for over 50% of the share of the Indian travel and tourism market in the coming years. This alone speaks for the opportunity that employees for these sectors will have in terms of international job. However, having said so, given pace at which our own tourism economy is developing, I think job seeker will find ample of opportunity of work in their own country. Finding job international market would certainly be the second choice. Tourism being an industry linked with now a lot of air, water, road, rail service. So scope and employ in large. Slowly, the people from the above industries are preferring taking the people from the hospitality industry. So it is, there are very few sectors that are as the employee intensive as that tourism in India. It accounts for 8% of the total employment of the country. That is the in employees around 39 million of people in the coming 7 to 8 years. This figure is expected to improve further to around 53 million. Increased investment, increased tourist fall, expansion e-visa, improvement in tourism-centric infrastructure would lead to more and more brands having their presence in the country. This in turn will lead to increased employment opportunities. However, as said earlier, that there will be ample of employment opportunity. We should not forget that training our workforce for these existing and upcoming opportunities is equally important. And therefore, more and more hotel existing upcoming opportunity equally important. And therefore, more and more hotel management colleges and training institutes with state of art facilities need to be established. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was lovely hearing you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir. I'll see you again, maybe if time permits. I'll see you again in the last question answer round.
No problem. I'm there. I listen to
Thank
all
you,
the
sir. Keep
panelists.
joining us. Thank
Much. Thank you, Pradeep ji.
so, ladies and gentlemen, that was our amazing personality, the true gentleman here, Mr. Mohapatra ji. Let me now give an opportunity to introduce our next guest of this webinar. He is Mr. Dheeraj Kukreja, a person with an enthusiastic and high achieving professional career with over 29 years of outstanding performance. Mr. Dheeraj Kukreja is currently working as Chief Operating Officer with Piccadilly Hotels Resort Limited, which is a part of large business house having interest in hotels, resorts, cinema, shopping malls, multiplex, real estate, etc. He was earlier a freelancer consulting prosperity development and operations, sales and marketing, timeshare and clubbing as a subject matter expert. Mr. Kukreja has also coordinated management contracts in various formats, real estate, leasing, apart from brand franchising and development. He has traveled nationally and internationally, which has strengthened his exposure towards global hospitality and multicultural understanding. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Dheeraj Kukreja here. Welcome, sir. Welcome to this webinar. It's a lovely opportunity to share screen with you today. And I also share the same surname what you have. So I would like to say a personal greet to you. I am Julelal.
Wonderful, great.
Okay, sir.
Uh, Thank you very much for the kind words, Poonam. Namaskar, Predeep ji, Souvagya Mohapatra ji, Modi ji, and the other panelists. Uh, Dear friends, I have uh, a lot of things to say. I think I've been given only 10 minutes to say or to put across my point. Now, you see, hospitality ki pathshala comes at is just the much needed requirement today. Um, I must try and explain you that there are hotels which are big brands. So by virtue of being they by virtue of the brand ownership, they are able to attract students from hotel management. And when some of them go join there, they work there for quite some time before they are promoted or they move on. Likewise, the international brand and domestic brands, both in the 5-star, 4-star segment, who are able to attract students. Now, the problem today being faced by standalone hotels, which otherwise provide exemplary services, is that they are not able to attract as many students from the hotel management colleges because, by virtue of the other companies having larger name, people or students tend to go there. So, the standalone hotels, as well as hotels which are in three-star segment, have a real challenge in finding students to join them, or and they're building a decent staff quality metrics. Another problem that the standalone hotels or three-star hotels, the four-star hotels face is that, as compared to larger chains or bigger hotel companies, they do not have a large training setup. So it becomes all the more difficult for them to pick up talent, and it becomes difficult for them to train and bring them to the level so that they're able to work professionally and deliver good service. Now, so there's a challenge. So smaller hotels, restaurants, takeaway joints, unbranded hotels, um, they all face this challenge of finding the right kind of people. Likewise, there are students who, by virtue of their social economic background, of not having enough finances, and if I may add, they may not have enough time to give. They can't pursue a 3 years course because as soon as they finish their 10th or 8th, as soon as they turn 11, 18, they wish to start working, and they can't be sitting at home studying for 3 years before they are able to find an employment. So there are students, and a whole lot of them who want to start working as soon as possible, and there are a whole lot of hotels who want to hire talent, and so I think hospitality ki pathshala, I think, is the right bridge between these two. uh, um, if you're able to, if and I'm sure we would, if you're able to somehow reach out to those people who wish to join hotels, and we are able to reach out to the hotels who wish to hire these people, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for all parties, including hospitality ki pathshala. Now, there's no doubt that people who would enroll would eventually get job. Because let's be honest, um, there are enough problems in India because of the population, but population in India also is a big boom. It's a big boon. So when the you see worldwide, travel and holiday and vacation is a lifestyle, you see. So like we all want to live in houses, we want to eat good food or wear clothes. Likewise, in Europe and America, people taking a vacation, going out on a weekend, going out for a dinner is a standard thing. India at this point of time is doing a very fraction of all that. uh, 20, 30 years ago, most hotels in India were dependent on foreign tourists. Now, which is no longer the case. The corporate started, and so they took away a segment. So we realized that only the luxury hotels were having 50% of their business from foreigners, and the balance 50 from Indians. In fact, some hotels also mentioned that the Indians tend to pay a lot more than the foreigners. So the number of Indians who have more money is growing. The number of Indians as a number in itself is growing, and the hotels in proportion is very, very less. During pandemic and before pandemic and post pandemic, we've realized that all the resorts in hill station and elsewhere are doing well, and this is without a single foreigner. So what we're trying to say is that there is the jobs are there. This is a minor setback, and so one can be assured that there'll be jobs in the hospitality. There would be jobs of people passing out from hospitality ke pathshala in hospitals, in airlines, in restaurant, in cruise liners, in the BPOs, and you name it. People who learn hospitality, learn customer care, and hence are able to sort of get accommodated anywhere. It could be retail, it could be mall management. So it's an extraordinary step being taken. This was always in my mind. We face this problem, and I'm sure all the other hoteliers would agree that we all face this problem of not being able to hire the right talent. And also, one must not forget that people who do hotel management of 3 years from premier colleges, they're not patient. You see, they're not willing to work at the entry level. Most of them want to be an assistant manager in a span of 1 or 2 years. So, you see, let's be honest, the pyramid is like this. We need to have more trained manpower at the grassroots level. This is where hospitality ki pathshala comes in. Those people with simpler background and simpler education, or probably understanding of one stream, which is the front office, or housekeeping, or food production, or gardening, or anything else, or concierge, would remain there. They would hopefully work in those positions for a longer duration of time and provide excellent services. So it's a great initiative. I think this is something which was always needed, and there's no doubt this would succeed. I would like to convey my best wishes to Pradeep ji on this, and would extend my support. Hospitality ki pathshala is also expected to be more practical, because unlike colleges where a lot of theory is imparted, or a lot of accounting is taught, the language in French is taught, and I don't think in the last 15, 20, 20, 25, 26 years, or maybe over 30 years of my career, have once used some of the things that I learned in the hotel management college, particularly the language. So I think this a focused approach of looking after, of teaching, what is needed and by taking inputs from industry, what is required would bring in the right training and get the right number of people. So this would be a great job, and and I wish all the best. This is all that I have to say, and I would like to end now.
Thank you, sir. It was nice hearing you. I'm sure people who are attending this webinar, सबके लिए this was a pleasure to hear you here. Thanks a lot. I'll be back again to you for some question answer round again.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. So after ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to introduce our third guest here. Put your hands together for none other than Mr. Sandeep G. Mukherjee, a seasoned global hospitality professional with over 4 decades of international experience in hotels and the travel industry in senior position worldwide. He is interested in hospitality management, hospitality and tourism education, business excellence, upgrading services management, and delivery skills in customer-facing businesses and education. Mr. Sandeep has been working as director in Techno India. Techno India is one of the largest knowledge management groups of India, offering education from K-12 level to postgraduate and doctoral level, and has 25 state-of-art knowledge campuses of about 5 lakh square feet that are spread across the country. He is working very hard to create value and support the upcoming generation with quality. For almost 2 decades, he has served as Taj Hotels as general manager and proved himself throughout his career. Having you with us in this webinar is our pleasure. So welcome once again to this webinar.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Over to you.
Thank you for the very kind words, Poonam, and good afternoon to all the panelists. And Pradeep, thank you for bringing me over. My journey with Pradeep has been for the past few months, in fact, more than a month actually, more than few months. It's been almost stretching to a year now. We've been off and on talking, and we've been through this entire situation of COVID in which the industry has been reeling, and most of us had felt the pinch. I put in 4 decades of work in hospitality. I passed out from the hotel school, which was the Institute of Catering Technology from Calcutta in 1977. So roughly around 41 years in hotels and now 2 years in education. While I say education at this point of time, it's with Techno India, and set up 2 hotel schools for them at this point of time, and one with a university and one a standalone, which is to open at this point of time. So I've been through with education in that sort of a sense. And while with Taj, I was attached also to the Institute of Hotel Management in Aurangabad, which is a fine hospitality school. And at the same time, I used to be the general manager at Taj Aurangabad at that point of time. Off and on, I've been attached with education. In my previous avatar, when I started off after 1977, that point of time, the India Tourism Development Corporation was pretty big. In fact, the founding father, Dr. Karan Singh of tourism in India, at that point of time had thought, well, let me take you into a little bit of a journey into hospitality education, since we are talking about hospitality and combining it with education, to understand where we need to further now scale it up. And that is exactly what Mr. Pradeep Ji is trying to do over here, in tandem with what the government of India is also trying to do in terms of the national skills development. That's also happening in many states, better than the others. I know about Odisha for sure, where Mr. Mohapatra is from. Mr. Subrata Bakshi over there is, in fact, handling that in an extremely good manner. Neighboring state of ours from West Bengal, and they have done some phenomenal work over there, including hospitality, which I'm fully aware of. So, early 60s, Dr. Karan Singh thought of setting up these hotel management institutes. So fundamentally, when we passed out, they were technical to a large extent. Managerial sort of content was less. So to put it very simply, listeners, all of you who are present over here, maybe aspiring students, maybe hotel managers, I'm not sure who's actually listening in the entire group. But how we started in India in the early 60s was, it was essentially technical. Put it very simply, when we passed out of the 3-year diploma, there was no degree even then at that point of time. After our higher secondary, we had class 11, not 12th, as you have now. We learned extremely well how to cook, clean, bake, sweep, and understand the fundamentals and the technicals of running a hotel in senses of being an operating staff. Aspirations were not running high. I did not want to become a general manager in the next 5 years. Ambitions were not running, parallel to what the industry would offer, because the industry was also not offering that much at that point of time. There were fewer hotels. The number of tourists which actually came into India was also less in that sense, and it was just sort of nascent. So what you had in those earlier days of cities, what we would call, were the Calcutta, Bombay, Delhi, and Madras colleges. That's about it. There were just 4 colleges. That's how it started. But we had brilliant teachers, we had very focused teams, and we learned our skills extremely well. So where did we learn the managerial excellence, so to speak? We learned it along the way from great leaders. That's how it happened. As it happened, some of us got chosen to become management trainees and went into hotel organizations. ITC was not even there. It had just started as a nascent organization. So which were the players? At that point of time, you had ITDC, which was a big player. The state tourisms, very small players, fractionally, they were working in certain states. West Bengal tourism, probably. Odisha tourism, in fact, had Panthani buses and all those, I can tell you. Many states didn't even have state tourism departments at that point of time. ITDC was big, decently big, with its Ashoka as the flagship and a great training center. So we went in, we became management trainees, some of us were lucky. We became first-time managers, some of us became first-time HODs. We were that lucky. And we scaled up. We became general managers. We roamed around the world. Why? Because we were essentially hoteliers. And hoteliers, by luck, you call it, or through hard work, or destiny, or meeting people, or fate, whichever way, we are travelers. We get to see places, you see, which people yearn in their lives. We get to meet people. Mr. Mohapatra talked about learning foreign languages. Yes, French. For 3 full years, morning 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, you had to parlez-vous français. Big time. You had to understand French. It's important because there's a whole lot of diction which actually flows through in our curriculum in that. So operating people need to understand that. Some of us also learned other foreign languages, as let's say German, for that matter, European language. Some learned Spanish over here. And we scaled up and we did our jobs. Some became supervisory trainees. They also did very well. Some went abroad. Some joined ships. Ships was also, at that point of time, commercial ships was there. Luxury liners and cruises were less. All your QE2s and Queen Victorias and Royal Caribbeans were less in number, let's say. In fact, many of those, other than the P&O cruises, which was 100 years old already by that time, there were not many luxury liners at that point of time. In that sense. Airlines, yes. Airlines was also a source of employment. Now, it's a completely new dimension of hospitality. When you talk about hospitality, and Predeep is talking about hospitality ki Pathshala, you see, it's said in life that even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. They say that. There's a whole lot of negative thoughts, that hospitality, hotels closed down 1.5 years. You read a lot of news articles that should I join hospitality, should I not, because hotels are closed, business is not booming at this point of time. But if you recall, when phase 1 ended and before our so-called phase 2 of COVID started, between November and March, the business boomed to the extent that when I would call my friends back in Taj and say, hey, how are you doing? Because I've retired 3 years back, right? And for the last 2 years, I'm in education in that sense. And pro bono consulting. I do some consulting. I do consulting for even a hospital for that matter. You're wondering what am I doing in hospital? But then hospitals equate patients to guests. If you look at Columbia Asia in Calcutta, if you look at Fortis for that matter, if you look at Medica over here, if you look at Apollo, if you look at Tata Medical Center, Their CEOs or their F&B managers or their executive chefs are all from hotel schools. They're all our compatriots who are juniors who actually passed out. In quality, in a very big time in Apollo, the head of quality was from Taj, for that matter, and so on and so forth. It's like that at this point of time. So when I asked them, my colleagues, that how are you doing? They said, will you believe me that in our career of 30 years, 20 years, 25 years, we have not done so much of business that we have actually done in these months of November through February. Why? Because everyone moved out, good or bad. And I'm not debating the fact. We all need to be careful of what and how we need to medically take care of ourselves, because you need to maintain that social distancing, you need to do everything and all the clean hygiene protocols that need to be followed. But then, as it happened, people went out, they enjoyed, hotels made money, the resorts made phenomenal money. Your Goas and Shimlas, Darjeelings, they made phenomenal money at this point of time. They were booked and blocked. In came the next wave, of course, and things have slowed down again at this point of time. So you wonder, that this ding dong, how long is it going to go on? But then, as I said, please do remember that even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. And, I've taken this quotation from that French book, Les Miserables, the English book actually. And it's true in that sense. And who stands out? When tough times are there, it's tough people who stand out, and hoteliers are tough people. That's what they do in life. I'll give you a little bit of statistics. Mr. Mohapatra did give a little bit of statistics to say that where we moved on. So in came the catering colleges, the 4 colleges, and then the boom started of the hospitality schools. So one of the first private schools, of course, was the school in Manipal by the ITC, which is still there, a very strong school at this point of time. They're actually coming up with a beautiful culinary course over there, right, with a new building. The Taj, the Institute of Hotel Management in Aurangabad, with the Maulana Azad Educational Trust, Dr. Zakaria's center over there, with a beautiful hotel over there. They run a fine college over there. The Indian School of Hospitality, run by Dilip Puri at this point of time, tied up with Lausanne. That's there. These are the top. These are the biggies over there. If I look at Calcutta, for instance, the number of hospitality schools, okay, the government college, the Institute of Hotel Management, Catering Technology, that's there, of course. Dr. Subono Bose's college, which is very big, the biggest private player in terms of hospitality schools in India. I would say Dr. Subono Bose with the Institute of Indian Institute of Hotel Management over here, large campus, beautiful campus over here. The university I was attached to, the Sister Nivedita University, a new college, smallish, 60 seats over there, and a new one at Paliganj. All put together, you'll be surprised, even in Calcutta, there are 39 colleges, and I'm not talking about West Bengal. That's the number of schools and colleges that you have in terms of catering towards hospitality aspirants. So obviously there's a pull, there's an interest. Today's students are sharp. One could do a vanilla BBA at this point of time. Right. And what does a BBA teach? A BBA basically teaches you about commerce and commerce related subjects. Okay. So you learn about accounting over there. You learn about nature of management, right? You learn about law, you learn about HR, and you learn about basically languages and stuff like that going forward for 3 years. If you look at what a hotel management course, and I'm talking about approved hotel management courses, right? AICTE approved hotel management courses running all over the country, all over the nation. National Council approved hotel management courses. Fundamentally, whatever is being taught in business management courses at the undergrad level, I'm talking about, is already there, configured. And that's also what we actually learned when we were there, okay? However, it is supplemented by technical skills, social skills, and lifestyle skills. Mr. Mohapatra talked about lifestyle issues like Sanjeev Kapoor, an old colleague of mine from IGDC, who went off into television and became a what we call celebrity chefs nowadays. And a whole lot of students actually get caught on. They see master chefs on television and they feel, well, I also need to be the next master chef over here, right? In the representing the nation at this point of time. Now, whole lot of people who also feel that they need to look into newer aspects of learning, which means revenue management. That's also a huge scope of learning. And in retail or people who work in cineplexes, there are a whole lot of people actually who works in cineplexes also. I had a good friend called Jane Banerjee who was with me in the Hyderabad house, the state house, catering towards the Prime Minister's catering, which I was managing at one point of time, 89, 1991. And he went on to Gold Cinemas as their chief operating officers, which was there in New Delhi and other parts of India. I remember that. So, and that was pretty much early, somewhere around mid 90s, if I'm not mistaken, at that point of time that he actually went in, or probably a little later. So the scope has escalated wherever you see customers, and I'm talking about patients in hospitals as customers also today. You see hospitality people. It's amazing. Beginning of the 21st century, late 20th century, the BPO started taking away a lot of people from hotels. And that was funny because we never understood what BPOs were there. One of the earliest BPOs were Wipro and Infosys and all those Indian BPOs which were setting up a shop over here. And we started losing. By we, I mean to say Taj, because 21 years in Taj, we started losing. Our head of training went off and joined Wipro. And a lot of people started moving in towards back offices over there. Why? Because what the hospitality space or the hospitality schools teach is essentially customer facing or customer skills, which can be translated into processes which the BPOs could pretty well use at that point of time. And then on, there's been no looking back. Now, of course, a whole lot of other people have also joined the bandwagon in that sense. But to understand how to speak to customers, how to talk to them, how to assuage their feelings, how to be in their same shoes for that matter, how to actually be, nice, to be kind. And I heard a term, someone say that service before self, that being the motto for life of a hotelier throughout, without a break. That sort of a thing was encashed by BPO. So we started thinking at that point of time. We started thinking, wow, we are losing a lot of people. There's a whole lot of attrition that's happening. There's something, a new space coming up over here. So what did we do? Did we try and stop them? Yes, to some extent we did. But can you stop people from progressing in life? You cannot. So what do you do in life? You do exactly what Pradeep is trying to do at this point of time. So we thought and we reflected and we said and we discussed, we strategized, and we came to an understanding saying that, look, hey, if you train and they leave versus if we do not train and they stay, who's the loser end of the day? So essentially it was we, who would stand to lose. So we pumped up our training. Training is the key, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to take you forward in life, and there's no looking back. So in airlines, in hotels, in restaurants, in hospitality, in our type of work, there is no two way that you're going to stop training. The government of India has realized this in a very big way, and somewhere around about from 2012, we'll be talking about the National Skills Development Council and Corporation, and it has taken on various avatars, various roles, and it has shifted gears, and to the extent that now you have a complete cabinet ministry, a minister rank, senior minister rank looking after this, and most of the states have their own levels of training going on. Is it successful? Sort of. Sort of. If you do an audit, you'll say sort of. There's been a lot of fudging. There's been a lot of issues that have actually happened over there. There's been not much of goodwill that's actually, there's not much of traction that's happened through the National Skills Development Council with, sort of a caveat I'll give in. I'm not talking about my neighboring state, Odisha. Phenomenal job going on over there at this point of time. In my own home state, 2 days back, there was a newspaper article which said actually there's an audit going to go into the National Skills Development, the State Skills Council over here, saying that there has been certain amount of mismanagement in that sense. So I won't go further into it, but the fact of the matter, I would say that I'm a little suspect on the national skills level training that's going on. I may be wrong. I may be completely wrong. There may be many more beautiful case studies of very many states. I'm not aware of it. I'm aware of Odisha for sure. That's a very good example over here. Right. Now, Having said that, where have we reached? If we give you some figures, because the latest figures that's with us at this point of time, last year has been a washout for tourism. So it's not a great year. This year, we are worried at this point of time. So last year, when there was a washout, please understand what happened in terms of admissions into colleges. That will give you an insight into saying that what people are thinking about in the future. People meaning the parents and the students themselves. Because today's students, they take their own stand of going into and taking their career. At a point of time when I came in, with my gray hair, the thought of my parents probably were basically that the son needs to be either a doctor or an engineer, right? Essentially, that was the hallmark. Today, dime a dozen courses. The life is open. In terms of hospitality, one course. Therefore, students are pretty aware that it's not only going into hotels. You'll be surprised that even in Pusa, one of the foremost national council colleges, close to 50% of the students who actually pass out of the college with their degree course from IGNOU do not join hotels, by the way. And that's a loss to hotels. It's a big loss to hotels. So we need to figure out how we do not. So where do they go? Anything to do with customer services. There are a whole lot of who go for further education. That's another story. But they go into banks, retail, communication. They go into BPOs or IT for that matter, into cineplexes, go into cruises, go into airlines, go into hospitals. It's getting endless at this point of time. So hospitality per se, because it's become a business management course, as I said, with a lifestyle and social skill sets at one end, and giving that edge over a vanilla BBA student wherever. So it's a very interesting course. So it's not only hotel management at this point of time. No way. Hospitality is the buzzword, right? So that's what is happening at this point of time. If you look at the statistics, what happened? Roughly, out of my head, if I speak, we reached something like about a magic figure of 11 million tourists. 2 years back, I'm saying. Right, last year we'll discount. Will not. What was the total sort of a percentage input in terms of earnings, in terms of GDP? Again, the magic figure of around 11 to 12%. If you look at the complete workforce that goes into hospitality, direct, indirect, absolutely. Of the total population base, probably 1 out of 7, 8, or 10. That's how huge it is, including all the young boys and the girls who today deliver our Swiggy and Zomato, our medicines onto our doorsteps. All of us who could not move out of our house due to restrictions of being closed down, okay, under lockdown at this point of time. How did we survive? All of these people are actually people from hospitality in a sense, in a very, very big way. All your Spencers and Big Bazaars and all these people, they count. They are the sort of people. So we're not only looking at people for creation, of managerial jobs in a sense going forward, but people who want to help people, people who are there to serve, people who are strong, in their own senses. And that's what hospitality brings you in. And there have been enough cases, enough examples of people who have started from a bottom or a middle rung and risen to the top. It's all about the ambition. It's all about ethics. It's all about values. And that's what hospitality teaches. So if you look at number of total tourists that actually came into India, if you look at visiting foreigners, visiting friends and relatives, VFRs as we call, that figure will be even higher. That will be around 28 to 30 million. It won't be that 10 million figure in that sense. 2 years back. And they also come in and spend a good amount of money because they also spend a good amount of foreign exchange when they come in over here. If you look at other things, like for instance, where do they really come in from? Who are these people? All these tourists who came in. Leave aside Bangladesh because there's a huge amount of people who are coming in from Bangladesh for various amount of work, including trade over here. United States, about 14% of the traffic comes in from United States. United Kingdom, almost about 10% of the traffic comes in from there. Sri Lanka and Canada, almost about 4%. Australia, Malaysia, close to 3.5%, 4%. China, similar. China, we do have a lot of people coming in from China. Germany, around 3%. Russia, 3%. France, 3%. So on and so forth. That's how it goes. In terms of foreign exchange earning, if you look at it, What sort of foreign exchange earning are you looking at? You're looking at close to almost 2 lakh crores in terms of foreign exchange earning. And if you look at it in terms of US terms, in terms of billion, most of us look at these figures of what sort of a foreign exchange reserve we have of the nation at this point of time. And there's always a big high saying that we've reached around 600 billion or 598 billion and these sort of figures. You'll be happy to note that close to 30 billion in terms of foreign exchange earning comes in from tourism. US dollar foreign exchange, not bad. It's a great industry, and it's about time that it needs to be given its due, which fortunately, unfortunately, it hasn't been by the center. And wherever we have been part of the hotel association, be it in Pune, Aurangabad, wherever I was, or even in Malaysia for that matter, for 7 years when I spent, part of the state over there where I was, part of their tourism representative. We always fought so that we get our due share. So if you look at these figures speak for themselves. Figures don't lie at any point of time. If you look at the number of approved hotel rooms, you see the number of approved hotel rooms typically means that these are hotel rooms approved by the HRCC or the Hotel Restaurant Classification Committee by the Department of Tourism. I'm not talking about unapproved rooms. There are huge, probably 30% more than what I'll say. Okay, not bad. Some of them are not bad at all. In fact, many of the OYOs and others, homestays, they're not approved in that sense still. Uh, I'm not counting them. We have more than 1 lakh approved hotel rooms, and it is supposed to exactly go up by this number in the next 5 to 6 years. The amount of hotel chains that have come in, if you look at and if you read your newspapers, you'll see that the Taj Group of Hotels has leaped in the last 3 years, sorry, post my retirement. From total of 130 rooms, it's crossed the 200 magic figure by sign-ups. All of them are not open, but they're signed up. In my own home state, in Bengal, in Calcutta, if I say for that matter, with the Neotias over here, the sign-up has been for a City Center 2 hotel. It has been for another hotel over here in Calcutta. The Darjeeling hotel has opened pretty much during COVID at this point of time. Shillong 2 hotels are opening over here, and so on and so forth in the Northeast, etc., etc. So a huge amount of hotels are being signed up, being opened, and also not to paint a rosy picture all the way through, there have been hotels which have closed. There's no doubt about it. Not Taj, I'm not talking about Taj, but there have been a lot of hotels which have not been able to bear the crunch of going forward in these sort of difficult times at this point of time. Okay. But as I said, there is always light at the end of a dark tunnel. And it seems to be that things are getting better and things will get better. So last year, there was a crunch in terms of college admission going back. However, the National Council colleges, which with their branding are roughly more than 60 colleges at this point of time. I'm not talking about the direct National Council colleges, but also their colleges which they brand as National Council colleges, even within private universities and otherwise. Okay, even with private hotel chains like Lalit has one in Faridabad. They have a total number of seats and an intake of close to around 11,000. Every single seat apparently was sold. Calcutta College was completely full up, that I'm completely aware of. The private colleges faced a problem, no doubt about it. Last year, there was an issue. This year, is there going to be a problem? Probably there may be. But if people are smart, if you realize that your career will only strike in, right, when the rubber meets the road, as we say, it's going to happen after 3 years. People will join in even now, this year. So that's the promise of a long-term career. Yeah, there has been issues. Classes have been, not really in the way that we would have wanted it to be done. Number of practicals were extremely less or not there at all, for that matter, because visual practicals don't hold good. We need to actually do things with our own hands. That's what we hoteliers do over there. But the promise is always good in that sense. Right. So this is the promise that holds. Now, if you look at the growth rate of tourists coming into India inbound will be easily in the rate of around 7 to 8%. That's what the last trend has been. So if you're looking at 12 million or about 11 million, you're looking at least about a 7 to 8 million. If things are good, because people are yearning to go out at this point of time, and if the country shapes up well, we have done good in terms of our vaccination and the program that's going forth, with a little bit of a hitch at a point of time. If we can prove to the world that we are safe, we are clean, can be as good as 10%. If that happens, you're looking at a 13 million, you're looking at a 14 million. Now, there needs to be people to actually serve people. We are a people-based industry. Mr. Mohapatra talked about 1:6 for a hotel ratio over there. Well, it's a luxury hotel in a sense. Mayfair is, in fact, known extremely well for its services wherever they are. And last year in the Business World Hotelier Awards, in which I was the Eastern Zone chairman and part of the national council, national body, I remember we had meted out quite a few awards to Mayfair Hotel employees for having done extremely well, even during difficult times over there. Now, normally, of course, the ratios fluctuate between 1:1.25 or 1:1.5 or 1:2 at best, let's say, over there. But still, you need 2 staff per room as a ratio over there. Where will it come from if you don't train? So you need to train, right? In the Asia Pac region, India is pretty good actually with its annual growth rate over here, and we stand pretty high over there. India's position in the world is not so great. It's somewhere in the 18 to 20 region in terms of number of tourist traffic. In Malaysia, where I was, in fact, for a small nation which has roughly around 30 million or let's say 3 crores population, for a small island, Langkawi, they would get about 4 million tourists a year. Total number of tourists would be 30 million. So a population of 30 million hosting 30 million tourists. That was what Malaysia was, where I used to work. So similarly, Thailand. Do we reach that sort of a figure? We can, with the type of natural sort of offerings we have, with the cultural offerings that we have over here, with our infrastructure that we have and we promise to build up, and with the publicities and with the type of manpower and trained manpower and skilled manpower that we need to do, with the various programs that we need to actually augment. We need to build an infra for that and to make it run and happen. And that's what Mr. Predeep is trying to do at this point of time, to build that alternate route, and with a promise. He's given a big, an audacious sort of a figure, a big, hairy, audacious, because if you don't run with a number like that, it doesn't make sense. 50,000 people I'm going to train. And that's something, that sets you thinking that, well, wow, this is something we need to take on with. And that's how. If you look at India's position in the Asia Pac region, not too bad. Number 6 over there. So these are some statistics I thought I'll let you know and leave you with at this point of time. If you're wondering that what hoteliers have been doing in this particular time when things have not been so good, let me tell you, a good airline captain friend of mine who has been temporarily laid off from a particular airline, I won't tell you, in Bangalore, is running a wonderful Chinese cloud kitchen. Hired 2 people, set it up, and for you to let you know, he's got himself a FSSAI approval also, and doing extremely well over there at his home. So I asked him, I quizzed him, I said, hey, are you going to actually fly after this, or are you going to become a chef? He said, well, I'm not going to lose being a chef. I'll make sure that I have my cloud kitchen going, but I'm going to fly. If you look at chefs, they've become home chefs. They've managed their show after some time, because some people were laid off. Let's be frank. But then what I'm trying to say is that because it's all about skills, you can quickly, think about going for the next journey in life. You can do things. You don't need to look for jobs. You're an entrepreneur from day one of your skills learning. That's what this program actually teaches you to do in life. You're forever thinking, what can I do next? It's not a 9 to 5. It's not a desk job. There are no Saturday, Sundays. There are no holidays. I have 2 daughters, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, even when their marriages were being held, if I had customers calling me and saying that I need a room in Maldives, and I was not even posted in Maldives. Suppose I was posted in Udaipur at that point of time. I could never say no. Hoteliers never say no. We never take no for an answer. You say, yes, just a moment, let me handle this for you. And you will do whatever you need to do. You understand? Right. Chefs have become home chefs. Students have become home chefs. Many of my students have become home chefs also and done some things in life. And the promise of skilling yourself and going through a hospitality ki pathshala and going through certification programs and going through it smartly holds promise for you. Now, it's something which I learned from my teacher. It's not the load that weighs you down, even during downturns. Okay, it's the way that you carry it. It's the way that you carry it. And this is what hospitality teaches you in some senses. I'll leave you with just one thought before I leave. Most of us and all of you who are probably listening to all of us who've been through some things in life, remember that many of us have had challenges. Life has not always been easy. It's not always been easy. It's all about being learning. We are all learning, even now at this stage. We are all students. We are all students of learning. The pandemic has taught us a lot, but it has taught us a lot to rebound with grace, with happiness, with a will to serve others. And that's what the promise of the hospitality ki Pathshala should be all about. The difference between winning and losing, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, is not about quitting. I leave you with that thought. Thank you, and I hope I have not taken too much of your time. And I hope you know you have wonderful careers. And if there's anything that we can do from the industry, and if I can be as a part of this team, if we carry through, I'm most happy to be with you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chandel. Thank you, Poonamji.
Us this immense knowledge of your entire experience and giving all the new professionals a new motivation here. Lovely. Thank you a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it was nice having you here in this webinar. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's my next opportunity to call our next guest here. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Amit Modi, who is renowned hotel professional with more than 20 years of experience. He started his career in the Grand New Delhi in the year 2002, where he was appointed as the Vice President of the Grand New Delhi in 2013. With over 20 years of experience during his tenure in the company, he has handled a wide range of responsibilities like sales and marketing, finance, and many more. His dynamic leadership and passion for the business are recognized and acknowledged by his peers. Dr. Modi started his own venture in August 2016 through his company, Ashmi Holdings Private Limited. He has earned many awards, including Hospitality Leader of the Year by Business Fair magazine and has been felicitated by many social and non-for-profit organizations for contribution in personal capacity, especially for street children and girl child. With this amazing human being, put your hands together for Dr. Amit Modi.
Thank you, Pradeep ji.
Welcome, Amit sir. Welcome to this webinar. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, everything is great, and I've been listening very carefully to all the speakers who have been like enlightening us with their knowledge, with their great statistics, with their great experience. And I'm sure that after listening to Mr. Mohapatra on the policies, after listening to Mr. Mukherjee on the statistics, his experience, his wide, rich experience, and Mr. Kukreja's specific discussion on the need for the students in the hotel management, I'm left with very less to speak. But you know, there are still, we can talk about, and I strongly feel that we need to before we even come to the conclusions that we are passing through a bad phase, the COVID is there, the hotel industry is going through a rough patch, or whatever. We need to understand that what our industry is. Are we something which has been invented by somebody? Are we discovered by somebody? Or what are we? Our industry is not something which was discovered or which was invented, but our industry is something which came out of the need of people. And this is the need of people which developed us as a structured organization, as a structured industry, which is still known as the most disciplined organization, most disciplined industry in the world. Hoteliers are after the Faujis, after the army people. We are the most disciplined people. So what Pradeep ji is doing with Hospitality Ki Pathshala is a great effort in terms of bringing more and more people, more and more students, more and more youngsters to this organized platform, where from they can learn, they can educate themselves, they can put their skills in a very systematic manner for their growth, for their development, and to put themselves in the right direction. I'm sure students must be confused at this point in time after listening to a lot of rumors that hotels are not doing well, hotels are getting shut, as rightly being pointed out by our friends Mr. Mohapatra and Mr. Mukherjee, that hotels are getting closed, and these are all rumors we actually should not believe. We need to understand that our industry is not dependent on any of these factors. We have a long, very, very, very long history of origin. We have not been invented. We have not come out with something out of a need 500 years back. We are not an IT, which with the need for which emerged like 100 years back. We are something which who has the presence since BC. If you go to the time of the Mauryas, or you go even to 400 BC or 500 BC, you will see that people used to travel, and there was a need of sarai at that point in time. So sarai was basically the need for people to stay when they were moving out from one place to other for their livelihood, for to do their business. Over a period of time, people, earlier people used to move and they used to stay with their cattle in the same place. Then the need came, no, our cattle should be separated, we should sleep separately. Then the need for food at that place has come. Then people started demanding drinks, the need for bar has come, the need for entertainment has come. So over a period of time, we originated, and our industry has not seen just this one pandemic. We have witnessed more than five pandemics like COVID-19. And every time we have come out very strong. We came out very strong by way of our innovation. And every such pandemic has given us an opportunity to grow, to evolve, and to develop ourselves. And one of the biggest achievement, one of the biggest offering what we got from these pandemics, from this process of evolution, was the need of education. Today, when Pradeep ji is talking about hospitality ki pathshala, it is basically aimed at the government's objective of Atmanirbhar Bharat. It is basically something to say with पढ़ेगा इंडिया तभी तो सीखेगा इंडिया. बिल्कुल सही है. पढ़ेगा इंडिया तभी सीखेगा इंडिया. Today, there is need for people to get educated. There is a need for us to streamline our youngsters and to make them understand that this is one industry which is not only developing the future GMs and the vice presidents for the hotel industry. It is more to do with the Atmanirbhar Bharat by way of developing the entrepreneurs for the coming time. Our people, our students, are not just there to serve the guest. They are there to develop themselves as entrepreneur by developing and by coming out with their own business. I myself worked in a company for good 18, 16 years, and then I decided to start my own. I'm not a hotel management graduate. I am a chartered accountant by profession. And when I joined my company, my senior used to say that you are a chartered accountant and you have joined an industry which is dominated by the people who serve, who serve food, who clean the clothes, who are doing the job of a guard. But then I realized this industry is the most sophisticated industry in the country today. In terms of developing your skill, in terms of opening the avenues for your growth, in terms of opening the avenues for your own development, this is the best industry to be in. Because if we have the ability, if we want to take things forward, and if we believe, that belief has to come from within, that apart from our learning, which is the most important part, and today is like most of the hotel focus on learning and development, we can develop our students, we can develop our next generation, our students who are actually taking the formal education from these institutions to be the future owner of the restaurants. They can start their own catering services. They can start their own guest house, their B&Bs, their cafes, their laundry services. They are much. In fact, I would like to say that, the hospital in Pradeep ji wants to do, he has a vision of educating minimum 50,000 students through hospitality ki pathshala. But I feel that he should increase his target. He should have a vision of educating minimum 5 lakh students. The advantage which are coming with his model of education is, number one, it's online. It's not that expensive. It's at a very, very economical cost, and the whole curriculum of this pathshala moves around a complete and an overall development of a student. So it is very important that apart from just for having an idea to focus on the hotels and to work there, the student should understand the need and understand the broader horizon of our industry. Our industry's horizon is not hotel. Mr. Mukherjee has very well explained, how our people are getting accommodated in hospitals, which is one of the fastest growing sector in today's time. I remember like most of my, a lot of my F&B heads, my chefs have joined the hospital. So whenever they used to come with their resignation, I said, Chef, where are you going? Sir, I'm joining Fortis. So this is the beauty, you can do whatever, but you can't get job in multiple industry unless you have some sort of connect with the hospitality. And I'm sure with this venture, with this uh, probably, with this initiative to develop an online portal, online education system, the whole idea of developing a platform for the students will be very, very fruitful. The only thing is students need to be very clear in their mind that they have to come forward for further growth. There is an immense opportunity for the students if they feel, they can do. I can do is something what we always used to follow. I can do, we can do. But first is I. It has to come from I to make it we. So I wish all the best to Pradeep ji, because we are, I think, already running short of the time also. So I won't take too much of time, and I don't want to share too many statistics on the numbers and the things. But definitely, our industry is not something which is going to get affected by one pandemic, which has affected our business just for a year or year and a half. We faced it, and we know how to face, and we know how to recover. Though we are first to suffer, and we are definitely going to last to recover. But when we recover, we bounce, and we bounce back very strongly. And with my thoughts, with my strong contention, and with my very strong feelings on bouncing back of the industry, and then again, not only fulfilling the losses what we suffered in last 1.5 years, but but with lot of multiples, we are going to bounce back. And I'm sure these initiatives and the stronger education system, a stronger backbone, is going to give us a much needed cushion to bounce, and it's definitely going to make our backbone very strong. Thank you very much.
Lovely.
Lovely, Amit ji. Thank you.
Thanks, Amitji, for sharing your immense experience with us. Thanks a lot. It was lovely having you in this webinar. Thanks a lot. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let me now introduce my next guest in this webinar. Put your hands together for Mr. Rahul Kanugo, a seasoned hotelier with a passion to perform and excel in the tangent to be professional or personal. Highly motivated and a thorough understanding of the hotel's operations always help take the property to the higher tangent in all the quadrants of the hotel's balance card. That is the financials, guest satisfaction, internal guest satisfaction, and the alignment of the processes. Mr. Kandamu has always been recognized as a caring, highly integrative, and a team player who specializes in hotel operations, revenue management, finance, and much more. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on screen Mr. Rahul Kandamu.
Namaskar,
Hello, sir.
Honorable.
How are you?
All good, all good.
Great,
Good to see. I mean,
great.
it's more than hour now, and it's as hearing all the panelists. It's so wonderful to see and hear the knowledge is coming down from them. It's really wonderful.
Lovely, lovely. So, sir, I have a special question to ask you. But before that, I would like to ask you to please share your experience with us on this special topic of today's webinar.
Wonderful. I mean, it's a really, really great experience. And compliments to Pradeep ji for choosing the word Pathshala. If you look into the Indian culture, the best education system has been introduced by India in the form of Gurukul. And Pathshala was actually a form of that Gurukul where there was a very strong knowledge transfers and a beautiful relationship between Guru and the Shishyas. So I think it's a very apt word, and I'm sure Pradeep ji being around, the knowledge transfer is going to be a wonderful thing which is going to happen. The current pandemic actually has, put us in a very different gear altogether. And already we are in the industry, we are facing a lot of challenges in terms of getting a trained manpower. And I'm sure the Pathshala will actually bridge the gap, and it will help us to get more people, train people in the industry, and whatever help is required from our end will definitely be provided too.
Avi. So, sir, I guess you've already worked in Nagpur. So, do you miss Nagpur? How was the experience with Nagpur? How did Nagpur treat you?
Oh, Nagpur, except the summer, it's a beautiful city, and I was found that the city was one of the most cleanest city. I've traveled across country, but it was the most. I think a bit of a distance was there for the metro rail project. Otherwise, it was beautiful, clean city, and people are very warm. What a wonderful experience.
Ah, lovely. So, one question I would like to ask you, which entire webinar people who are attending this webinar, I would love to hear from you. That is, lockdown has spread negativity amongst all the people, and especially youngsters. What do you think are the positive sides of hotel industry in the current scenario, and what is the scope of pressures in this industry?
See, the pandemic is a very unique situation. It has happened after 1932. We had the first Spanish flu, and after that, something has happened to this major, and it actually has put the whole world into a different state. But again, it's like a cycle of life. The day comes, after the night comes again, and then again the day comes, the bright sun comes. So it's going to happen that it's a phase which will pass on, and definitely people doesn't have to lose hope. They need to be strong, positive. They need to stay positive, and I'm sure things will get better. And also about the current generations you're talking about, there's nothing to lose up. I mean, we heard the entire panelist. The hospitality actually gives you a complete, not only the education, but it actually gets you ready for all sort of customer care industries. So I don't think that there should be any reason for a person to get negative or taken back. I'm sure things will bounce back, and it'll be good.
Lovely. That's so nice and enlightening to hear that, and we have a lot of scope and motivation from this lovely webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we have our last guest of this webinar. So, let me now introduce him. He's none other than Mr. Amitwa Guha Thakurta. Mr. Amitwa, who has been in this industry for more than 20 years, has been conferred National Tourism Excellence Award from the World Economic Progress Society, New Delhi. IP Level 2 Award in HACCP for catering by TQS Global Management System, UK Limited, and FOSTAC FSAI Government of India. Former member of SKAL International Hyderabad, Chennai, and currently working as Regional Director, Inox Leisure Limited. He has worked very hard always to help his institution achieve new heights. Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Amitwa Guha Thakurta?
Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm all fine. Thank you, Pradeep ji, for having me here in this
Sir,
forum.
forum.
Right, sir.
Lovely. But I have one question from you also. But before that, you want to say something? You want to add on some points on this?
I am just overwhelmed hearing all the speeches and all the thought process of all the stalwarts of the industry. I just need to add one liner, which is, everyone is talking about hotel management and hospitality. I think hotel management as a course is the umbrella of hospitality management. Uh, any professional who pass out from a hotel management is been widely accepted across the board in any of the allied industries. Take for example myself. I have been working for hotels for almost 23, 24 years, and I've decided to move out to head a new role, leading one of the premier multiplex industries of the country. Now, I have been hearing that people are joining airlines, restaurant chains, retails. Absolutely, I think hotel management, the course is so well designed, and it gives a mental strength, and it gives it gives a complete round of education for all the students who pursue this course to become a great professional for the years to come in. And I think, as everyone mentioned, hospitality Patshala is been catering to a specific audience. And I think, as Mr. Goel was mentioned, Mr. Modi was mentioning to take it to 5 lakhs, but why not more? We are all here to be a part of the society, and to make sure that we grow together, and we make sure that, we have a very healthy society at large as hospital is concerned.
Sir, can you please unmute? Yeah. All right. So, sir, as I said, we have one question to ask you. As for working with INOX, what do you think is the scope of business food and beverage sector, and how this pandemic affected the same industry, and how will it recover?
I missed you because your sound was not coming to me. If you can please, if you can repeat the question, please.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, there was some network
Yeah,
error
yeah,
here.
fine.
I was saying, since you are working, what do you think is the scope of business in?
We're losing.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, better, better. Please carry on.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, sorry. So I was saying, since you are working with INOX, what do you think is the scope of business in cinema, food, and beverage sector, and how has this pandemic affected the same industry, and how will they recover?
Yeah. See, presently, all industries, whether it's hospitality or entertainment, we're all on the same boat. We all have been badly affected. And as Mr. Mukherjee and all the panelists just discussed, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I believe that statement, and we all believe that we are going to overcome. Now, I think Mr. Mukherjee was also mentioning that he was speaking to one of his colleagues in Taj, that the business that they have seen from the period when we unlock after the first wave and in between second wave have been phenomenal. I think that similar kind of footfall, similar kind of enthusiasm within the patrons who comes and watches cinema with friends and families have been on the similar line. I mean, you understand the cinema business in India has been divided into zonals. So, South India, for example, has multi-language facilities cinema business, wherein we have seen a huge number of footfall during the relaxation of the lockdown, and we believe that this trend is going to be on the upward swing. I mean, yes, there have been a bit of revenue loss for all businesses like hotels, restaurants, airlines, travel agent, tourism. In fact, us also. But we are very hopeful that in near days to come in, it will be definitely going to overcome, and we are going to see a new horizon, and India will definitely boom back in next few months' time.
So is this audible now?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Lovely. So thank you for sharing your knowledge with us and sharing your view on this industry. And anything else you want to add, or shall we proceed ahead?
No, no, we can proceed. I will like to thank Mr. Pradeep ji again, once again. This is a great initiative that he has taken. I have been associated with him for almost a year now, though we have been speaking a little less because of our busy schedule. But I think this kind of platform for the deserving students will help India as a large and the community as a large. So I wish you all the best, Pradeep ji, and we are all here with you for anything that we can be a part of this great initiative that we have taken forward.
Lovely, lovely, sir. Thanks a lot for your support and
Thank you, Bunam ji.
thank you so much. Gentlemen, here we have come to the end of this webinar today. It was lovely having these amazing business icons of this industry as the panelists here. Also having you people who watched this webinar today. Thanks for this amazing support and being a lovely audience. We will again come up with the next part of webinar. Before that, any formal event is incomplete without a formal vote of thanks. I personally thank Mr. Predeep sir for coming up with this amazing idea here. So, sir, can you please say hi to everybody there?
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you.
Lovely. So that's the man behind this amazing idea called Hospitality Pathshala. Also, thanks to our guests, Mr. Mohapatra sir, Mr. Rupreja, Mr. Mukherjee, Mr. Modi, Mr. Rahul sir, and Mr. Amitwa for being with us on this lovely webinar. Thank you so much, people, and we'll see you in the next webinar again. This is me, Poonam Rupreja, with Predeep signing off.